Bitcoin tested 82,000 yesterday, and today it is holding at around $81,073. It is a plus 0.4% per day, but the main thing is not the numbers. Analysts are starting to talk about exiting the bearish phase, and Michael van de Pope stated bluntly, Bitcoin has no obvious reasons to fall, and the market is changing its model, and most people just don't notice it. The annual financing rate for perpetual futures broke out of the negative zone for the first time in a month and jumped to 6%, and this is a technical signal that bears are losing control. In the meantime, analysts are arguing about the phases. Bitcoin products have raised $706 million in just a week for 6 weeks in a row. The total amount of assets under management has grown to $160 billion. And against this background, there is a contrasting news. Mining giant Mara reported a quarterly loss of $1.3 billion. Revenue fell, Bitcoin stocks declined, and stocks went into negative territory in the pre-market. In general, we have a lot to discuss. Please like, subscribe, and let's get started. On May 11th, Bitcoin quotes tested $82,000, and data from the derivatives market suggests traders are cautious, but analysts are looking deeper. The founder of MN Trading, Michael van de Pope, believes that Bitcoin has no obvious reasons to fall, and according to him, the opinion on the formation of a bear flag and a move towards $50,000 by the end of the year has become just engraved in the market, but the analyst does not agree with this. He recalled that before halving, many also did not expect the historical maximum to be updated, and after the February correction, the asset remains above the 21-day moving average and turns previous resistances into supports and receives stable demand. At the same time, the Nasdaq index remains valid. According to Van de Pope's forecast, the next resistance zone is in a range of $85,000 to $88,000, and the expert noted that after each breakout, the market expects a downward reversal, whether it's the Nasdaq rising or Bitcoin rebounding from 60 to 70. In his opinion, the participants are missing the main thing, the change of the market regime. The analyst admitted that cryptocurrencies will become the main payment infrastructure for the AI industry. Buyers of spot ETFs purchase millions of Bitcoins daily, and the number of holders has reached a historical high, and altcoins are breaking through resistant levels while remaining 80% below their peaks. Van de Pope suggested that market would exit the bearish phase and advised investors to remain calm. An analyst under the nickname Dark Forest made an important clarification, and he stated that Bitcoin still has not consolidated above the break-even level of short-term holders, and many participants misinterpret the current charts. The data distortion occurred due to the movement of 800,000 Bitcoins on the Coinbase exchange, and these coins were kept motionless for a long time, but after the transfer system marked them as new purchases by short-term investors in the region of $84,000, and this artificially lowered the average entry price. So Dark Force has presented an adjusted version of the indicator, and according to his calculations, the real purchase price of short-term holders is around $81,800, and he's confident that in order for the price to resume a bullish trend, it is necessary to close a daily or a weekly candle above this level. CryptoQuant analyst under the pseudonym CryptoDan stated the decrease in Bitcoin volatility and the influx of institutional capital have changed the market cycles, and the range of the MVRV indicator narrows along with fluctuations in the asset price. The approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs in the United States and interest of major players have made the current cycle unique, and the movement of quotations now differ from historical data. CryptoDan believes that investors should not wait for classic bottom signals. Flexible analysis and rapid adaptation are important right now because he concluded that no one has ever encountered such a cycle before. Willingness to act now will be a condition for hard profits in the future. And by the way, if you want to buy and trade cryptocurrencies, I would like to remind you about the sponsor of my channel, which I have used for a long time before creating this channel. OKX exchange is the best and most transparent solution for traders today. And if you want to join and get welcome bonuses while supporting my channel, see the link in the description box down below. Now to the figures that confirm the regime change. From May 4th to May 8th, the influx into exchange-traded cryptocurrency products amounted to $857.9 million. And of these, Bitcoin accounted for $706,000.1 million, and the positive trend has continued for the sixth week in a row, a record since the end of April. The total amount of assets under management has grown to $160 billion. CoinShares analysts attribute the growth to process in the discussion of the Clarity Act bill. Investors withdrew $14.4 million from the instruments for reduction, and this indicates a weakening of expectations for a correction, and that means the bears are giving up. Altcoins are also in the green. Ethereum has raised $77.1 million after an outflow a week earlier, and $47.6 million were sent to Solana and $39.6 were invested in XRP. The United States is the leader in terms of investments with $776.6 million, and in Europe, demand is distributed between Germany, Switzerland, and the Netherlands. Outflows were recorded only in multi-asset funds, and they lost $5.5 million. Analyst Carmela Alleman drew attention to the A-Super indicator, which has been holding above 1 for 9 consecutive days, and this means that investors are massively taking profits. The duration of the signal is of key importance here. The 9-day series reduces the likelihood of market noise and confirms a steady trend here. And the last time a similar trend was observed in October/November of 2023. Buyers successfully absorb the offer, coins are sold at profit, but the price of the asset does not collapse. Alleman interprets this not as a sign of euphoria, but as a transition to a growth phase. And the trend will change if the indicator falls below the threshold level, which will signal that participants are selling assets at a loss again. And as long as the SOPR remains above 1, the market maintains constructive dynamics. And against the background of all these positive news, this one shows the downside of the crypto industry. Mining company Mara has published a report of the first quarter. The net loss increased to $1.3 billion from $533 million a year earlier. And revenue decreased by 18% to $174.6 million, missing Wall Street's expectations of $192.7 million. The total hash rate of Mara increased by 33% from 53.3 exahashes per second to 72.2. But during the quarter, the company mined only 2,247 bitcoins and did not buy a single coin. At the same time, the total Bitcoin reserves decreased by 26% to 35,303 bitcoins. The reason for the losses is the fall of Bitcoin by more than 20% in just 3 months, and treasury reserves have depreciated. Representatives of Mara stated that Bitcoin mining remains the backbone of the company's operations despite the expansion into AI, and their strategy is to place a new infrastructure next to existing mining facilities, and this gives them flexibility. They can mine Bitcoin now and then redirect resources to AI later. But the company stressed that they do not plan to buy new mining equipment in the near future, and this is a wake-up call for the industry. If miners are not investing in capacity, it means they are not sure about the future price. The release of quarterly results put pressure on these stocks, and in the pre-market Mara securities unfortunately sank by 4%. But that's going to be all the news for today. Link to OKX is in the description. Subscribe, click on that notification bell, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.